It's snowing now in Poland. But as you know, I gotta do my thing. Should black people leave Europe and go back to Africa? So I'm headed to Hotel Forum to get my customary omelet that I get almost every morning. So we're gonna head there real quick and check it out. So I've been living in Poland for 2.5 years. And I started this particular vlog series about, I don't know, 8 months ago. And of course I get a really nice comments all the time. But as you can see, I get comments always saying I should go back to Africa. And the question is, am I offended by it? No. In fact, a lot of Polish people are curious, why did I come to Poland to study in the first place? Why didn't I go to Africa to study medicine? And I think it's a fair question, so I'll answer it right now. Medical school is really expensive in America. And so what happens is, I couldn't get into medical school in the United States, but the US government did have a program that was in Poland that they would give me a loan to come to, so this is why I came. And really, Eastern Europe has a lot of programs in English for many people to study medicine, which is why many of us come to either Poland, Hungary, some cases Romania, Slovakia, and so forth. But the real question is, why are blacks really still in Europe and not in Africa? Well, Africa is a great place. As you guys know, I went in June to Uganda, and we saw much footage of that. But I think the problem with Africa is there's simply just not enough development for, in many cases, for blacks to even want to go back. Now, when you look at me, you might think that I am a Nigerian or a Ghanaian, but I am what is considered African American, which is a black American, which about 400 to 500 years ago, white Europeans, they were involved in the slave trade, and they brought my ancestors to America to work in the slave fields. So a person like myself, I really have no connection to Africa. So when you say to African American, go back to Africa, well, the question is, where in Africa do you go? Just because a person is black doesn't mean that if they go to Africa that they're going to be accepted. You know, just like how you look at me as a foreigner when I'm in Poland, it will be the same way if I showed up to an African country. For example, when I went to Uganda, even though I'm black and I look like them, when I started speaking, they automatically knew that I was not one of them. And so they were trying to overcharge me for stuff. They were trying to take advantage of me, many of them, just the same way as if I was an outsider. So just because you're black, it doesn't mean that other black people will accept you. Also, blacks, if they were to go back to Africa, well, one of the problems is that there's a lack of development. So I'm here at Hotel Forum, and I just got my omelet, so why don't you come in with me real quick. This is a restaurant. This is where I'm sitting at. And oh yeah, that's my ham and cheese and bagel omelet. Let's be honest, Africa has a lot of natural resources and a lot of opportunity for blacks. But the problem is not necessarily about the resources, but will the European powers that be allow blacks to control their own resources? Now let's just be honest. It's not like black people came to Europe in the fucking first place. Black people were brought to Europe by Caucasians or brought to North America like Caucasians. We was chilling over in Africa, not doing a goddamn thing, but probably fucking. And so now that blacks are in Europe, or like in France, or the United Kingdom, people like go back to Africa. We didn't ask to come to this motherfucker in the first place. Be honest. Have you guys seen the weather in Africa? Who in the hell wants to come to Europe for the most part and deal with all this goddamn snow and cold? Even Europeans like going to Africa. Now, I will be honest to say that Europe, especially Poland, has allowed me to do some things I definitely couldn't do in Africa. It's a lot better infrastructure here. The education system is great. I wouldn't have been able to do the same things I'm doing right now in Africa. I wouldn't be able to have this YouTube channel where I can upload my vlogs as efficiently as I do in Africa. So with that being said, because of the lack of infrastructure and the lack of things available to people, a lot of blacks decide to stay in Europe. Now, to be fair, there are some blacks who are going back to Africa. Shout out to the natural Ghana girl. That's her channel right there. Ghana is the only way is Ghana. Channel's right there. And there's so many other black people who are leaving Europe, going back to Africa to help develop their countries. And I think it's a great thing. But the question is, are African countries willing and able to accept those black people who have acquired, great skills over in Europe or from the United States and help those people integrate into the economy and build? Unfortunately, we got to be honest. A lot of people don't want certain African countries to develop. And as bad as those countries are, some of them, it's in somebody's best interest for African countries not to develop. You understand? Everybody doesn't want development. Everybody doesn't want growth. Because when you're developing and you're growing stuff, somebody's losing money while other people are gaining money. And for some countries, for Africa to be in a total disarray in certain countries, it benefits somebody for it to be fucked up. So you got to understand, everybody in certain countries don't want it to be developed. They don't want things to go well because chaos gets people paid a lot of times. You got to remember that. So in closing, I will say to any black person wanting to go back to Africa, and I'm making my decision to choose a permanent African country, whether it be Liberia, whether it be Ghana or Uganda. Go to a country that you feel has the people that want to see it develop. I think that's very important in going back to Africa. If you want to do business there, they got to be serious, right? You don't want to waste your time dealing with, a certain country or certain politics that don't want to see people develop.